Hi everyone. I was just coming on here to share my book and just kind of go over some things. Um, so first of all, these are the little wristbands. I only have limited selection here. So these would come with the purchase of your book. My book is going for $10, and here it is. Now you might think the front cover is a little bit, why is there a child on there? The title is Healing the Light Within Me, My Inner Child. So it's basically a picture I drew of a child with a star on the heart. And it's healing the light within me, my inner child. So I thought, in my opinion, I thought it fit my thought process of a book cover. So, open it up, and it's got some chapters as well as much to share with you. I guess I could share the first chapter with you if you've got some time. The first chapter is called The Girl in the Blue Scrubs. I spent a week at the psychiatric unit, unfortunately, and I was the girl in the blue scrubs. And so I thought I'd start my title off, or the first chapter off, with that title. So each chapter I start off with a quote that I found resembled the chapter that I was about to write. And a little background actually about this book. I happened to be spending some time away at my grandmother's house and decided to write this book. I was going through a lot, and I thought maybe if I got it out on book and I shared it with other people, maybe it could help other people with their struggles. And so I guess I never pictured myself writing a book. Definitely wasn't something I thought of when I was little. But I guess sometimes in life things shift up and sometimes things change. But so I wrote this book actually while I was staying with my grandmother, and I did a lot of walking and thinking, and sometimes I'd go down to the corner store and sit at a little picnic table by myself and just write. Helped me release some things. Of course, I still struggle to this day. So I'll read the first chapter anyways, and I'll leave it up to you whether or not you want to reach out to me and purchase a copy. I've got resources in the back for people that are struggling, just a few resources that I've reached out to myself on my own, found them on my own. And so whomever has this book can have little resources in the back. I've also got some pages, blank pages in the back where you can write your own notes about things, and sometimes or someday maybe even write your own book. So it starts off, The Girl in the Blue Scrubs. Whatever triggers you reveals what needs to be healed. And that's from Ask the Wise. We are all our own author to the story that is within us, just yearning to come out. Within these pages, I share the most sensitive, in-depth parts of me that had to be broken in order to pick up the pieces. Upon searching what was broken, just like when the check engine light displays on your car dashboard, it resulted in repeated trips to the doctor for repair, but realizing I still had a broken part, my inner child. It's hard to swallow, but there wasn't anyone that could save me other than myself. There were people that could help guide me along the way, but I had to find the answer to my missing puzzle. Life for me has felt like I've been looking through a kaleidoscope. I went through 6 different therapists, 4 psychiatrists to finally receive the proper diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, major depression, PTSD, and panic disorder. As one therapist expressed to me, inside our brains and bodies there are no labels, but humans put language to the behavior that a person is showing. It's still a lot to swallow. I began my weekly counseling sessions at first going through dialectical behavior therapy, then trying the beginning stages of exposure response prevention. Dialectical behavior therapy is a type of therapy used to treat borderline personality disorder, and exposure response prevention is a type of therapy used to treat obsessive compulsive disorder. It is known that a person must attend longer than I had given it a chance, but I truly felt that the therapy wasn't getting in, and the demons within inside of me were festering at a deeper level. I began to withdraw myself from therapy because going to and from my house without extreme panic became impossible, and I had lost hope that I was ever going to get better from the hell I was living in. The time before entering therapy, where I received proper diagnosis, I spent a week at the Portsmouth Behavioral Health Unit. That was my first trip to a psychiatric hospital. While at the behavioral unit, I then realized that this could happen to anyone. There were all walks of life, from authors to mothers and fathers to sons and daughters. I look back and I realize that we're all a little broken, but that doesn't make us any less than of a person deserving of a happy life. It's okay if what happiness looks like differs from another's view of happiness. We can understand that there is a lot of stigma around mental illness, and I can say that I haven't been innocent in my way of thinking. Although the behavioral health unit was meant to help me, I couldn't believe it was happening to me. A girl who took college prep classes in school, a dancer on a dance team, someone who thought she took care of herself, attempted college while working full-time. How could this be? Mental illness doesn't care where you're from, who you are, the color of your skin, the language that you speak, how much money you have in the bank, where you live, who your family and friends are, or the career you have. Through this painful process, I had to accept that I had a mental illness despite of who I thought I was. I had to let go of who I thought I was and start becoming who I really am. I've also learned that becoming who you really are is a process, and that sometimes finding yourself through the dust and cobwebs doesn't happen within the snap of a finger. Often we yearn for the more immediate fix and fill our voids with things like drugs and alcohol, the next best relationship, unhealthy eating, spending, or seeking other people to meet our needs from the past. Sometimes we're not ready or have a lack of understanding and skills to realize we're engaging in unhealthy behaviors, but it gives us fulfillment in the moments where we feel so empty. The unhealthy behaviors then continue without yielding until the healing process begins. Sometimes we need to fully live the story before we can share it. When you start to love yourself and listen to what your subconscious is saying, you can then start acknowledging your needs and unhealed wounds to then start working on them. For me, I needed a safe place to allow my unconscious, the little girl within me, to come out. I had spent months at my grandmother's house, and that little girl decided to poke her head out and reach for me to take care of her. I had then realized I had buried her all these years. Amongst all of the brick walls I had hit with health insurance, costs, reaching out to every mental health care facility, every hotline and warm line number, referral centers, and countless calls to treatment centers, I now realize that I most likely hit those walls for a reason. That reason is because the answer was within me all along, but it took a while to get there. I will explain my spiritual story with you later on, but upon my discovery, a lot of spiritual signs were showing up, ones that gave me vibrations within inside of myself to believe that the Father was with me the whole time, even when it didn't feel like it. Having a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder and obsessive compulsive disorder can be a very complex situation because the diagnoses can play off each other and can become very debilitating for a person such as myself. Borderline personality disorder is the inability to regulate emotions, inability to make decisions, unstable relationships, and unstable views of self. Borderline personality disorder relates to childhood trauma, whether that be sexually, mentally, or physically. With borderline personality disorder, a person can also experience dissociation because of the emotional pain. They begin to dissociate themselves from They begin to dissociate from themselves in life. Borderline personality disorder also can make it so a person fears to be alone. Obsessive compulsive disorder is often misunderstood as just liking things neat. OCD has different subtypes ranging from OCD relating to germs, existential OCD, skin picking, or intrusive thoughts. For me, I struggle with OCD relating to checking, germs, and existential. The major depression diagnosis is most likely the result of dealing with the other half. I was able to start putting face to my feelings, but I wanted to know more. I wanted to know where it all was coming from, to get a better sense of myself. Maybe my divine purpose will change in 10 years, but I believe my purpose today is just to share my story with you. Because I know the one thing I didn't want to feel through all of this was alone. Do me a favor right now and wrap your arms around yourself and squeeze. I never imagined that someday I'd write a story of my own. As a child, I actually wanted to be a lawyer, hairdresser, or a mother. As we go through life, sometimes our soul shifts when we begin to realize and unfold. My name is Brittany. I live in New Hampshire with my husband Jesse and our dog Mika. I love nature, mountains, relaxation, walks, my family, Gerber daisies, live music, museums, art, the color maroon, and God. My favorite number is 8, and oddly enough, I was born at 8:18 a.m. I swear that I didn't plan that. It's nice to meet you wherever you may be within your life. So that's the first chapter of my book. There's 8 other chapters that I share in here. And like I said, this little bracelet comes with this book, while supplies last, of course. Wearing my own, actually. So I was just coming on here to share this with you. It's $10. You can reach out to me and I could meet you someplace or mail it. But I just wanted to come on here and share that with you guys. Thank you for your time.